What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and it's sad that it took Pablo Hidalgo seemingly going after Star Wars theory for a lot of people to wake up and realize something a lot of us have been continuing to say. This is still Lucasfilm. This is still Disney Star Wars. There are still people there that hate your guts if you are a Star Wars fan, and they are still in power. And that's what makes this rumor we're about to talk about today all the more believable. That there are people at Lucasfilm that hate the reaction to Luke Skywalker, and they want to make sure that he stays the Luke Skywalker that we saw in The Last Jedi. Now, like all rumors, you got to take it with a grain of salt, and I'm going to personally talk about my ideas on this rumor and the source of it after we get into it a little bit. But when you see things like this, right after Pablo Hidalgo attacks a Star Wars fan, it starts to make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Rumor: Lucasfilm and Disney writers livid over Luke Skywalker and white male leads. Now, this is from WDW Pro. This is the same person who came to us with a scoop that basically says the antithesis of this scoop just a few days ago. So we'll keep that in mind. This is all with a grain of salt with a lot of these rumors that get swirling around. I don't necessarily believe them, but I do think it's important to talk about it and look at, does this make sense? And I think a lot of ways you can say, wow, this does make sense with what we're seeing right now. It's cute when people decide to send private group messages behind the scenes, berating huge groups of customers and never thinking that some of the recipients might not be so on board. Thus, it's that I'm bringing you another substantial rumor about Lucasfilm and Disney post-Mandalorian Season 2. In case you're not up to speed, and then he talks about Pablo Hidalgo going after Star Wars theory. Again, since then, Pablo Hidalgo has tried to clarify a very PR-heavy statement, clearly, that says, you know, I'm sorry that you misinterpreted what I said. I wasn't trying to go after you, blah, blah, blah. But with Pablo's history, it's hard to imagine that he was just very innocent in all of this. Now, he went after Star Wars theory for his reaction and him crying over the return of Luke Skywalker. But I'm told the public displays of resentment towards grown men reacting to their childhood heroes is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, large swaths of Kathleen Kennedy loyalists are messaging back and forth about their disdain for Luke Skywalker, a white male, being brought back in any valiant form. In fact, I'm even being told that individuals at Lucasfilm have been reading articles here on Pirates and Princesses and watching videos on Clownfish TV and are now actively planning on how they can roadblock the retcon attempts of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to make Luke Skywalker a hero once more. The Hidalgos of Lucasfilm are not about to let Star Wars go back to where it once was. Now, what he's talking about is something that I talked about a little bit on the channel. There is this rumor out there. It's right here. Star Wars roadmap to redeem Luke Skywalker. This is about a week ago where this was published by this same guy, where he says that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have this plan to restore Luke Skywalker, essentially to retcon the events that we saw in the sequel trilogy by saying that Luke Skywalker was acting all of this. He knew that Grogu was really kind of the chosen one, and he hid Grogu away. All the things he did, going and hiding, not training Rey, all of these things was to protect Grogu so Grogu can come back. In my opinion, I think that that's BS. I don't think that that's real because at the end of the day, even if you retcon how it happened, Luke Skywalker is still a piece of shit in that scenario. He still lets a bunch of people die. He lets an entire system of planets get blown up to protect Grogu. Supposedly, it lets all of his students die to protect Grogu. I have a hard time believing it, and I don't think it would effectively redeem Luke Skywalker, so I was very hesitant about it. But now he's coming in saying there are people that want to prevent that from happening. Apparently, the discussions are that in the future creative meetings and story group sessions, these individuals plan to introduce ideas and narratives that would make a Luke redemption difficult. These wacko creatives are reportedly working in private messages to sabotage attempts by Filoni and Favreau via minor mediums such as graphic novels to push the Last Jedi narrative even harder. Well, that's already been happening. We have already seen that. All of this other stuff, whether it's the comic books or the novels, whatever it is, all it does is undermine Luke Skywalker further. This has been happening for years. Whether it's people saying that, oh, well, you know, Luke Skywalker, he's just the one that pulled the trigger, but really, Jyn Erso is the one responsible for the destruction of the Death Star. That white male, all he did was the last little bit. Everyone else had a lot more to do with it. Things like that are very commonplace. Making Luke Skywalker look like less of a hero, making him look like a dirtbag. This has all happened all throughout. The same way we've seen them do it to our other heroes. Han Solo, basically drinking away his medal, things like that. It just doesn't make any sense, right? And that is what we've been saying for the longest time. They have been doing this for the longest time in all of the other material as well as the movies. And that is all canon. Just so you know, that is all Disney Star Wars canon. The goal is to canonize concepts in the coming years that would prevent the Luke and Grogu from being the future heroes that Favreau has planned. These people are incensed that the reaction to Luke Skywalker and The Mandalorian has been incredible. I sort of think their attempts to subvert Favreau will fail, but we'll see. Now, if you can believe it, there's additionally a rumor movement within Lucasfilm and parts of Disney that are pushing for the cancellation of any Caucasian male leads in any future-length films for the foreseeable future. Now, again, this has been swirling around. I first saw this, not from this website, but from We Got This Covered, which makes me even more skeptical of it. Lucasfilm reportedly wants all Star Wars projects to have a POC or female main character. And when you look at it, that's kind of the way it looks right now. When you look at the things that they do have planned, it certainly seems to jive with that rumor, but also that could be just a crafted rumor made up to fit within this narrative. I'm highly skeptical of all of this shit. And when I look at this rumor that comes from the same guy who said something 6 days before, WDW Pro has been right about stuff in the past. He has. He's also been wrong about a couple things. Or he or she, whoever it may be. I'm always skeptical when a scooper comes out and says, hey, here's this scoop. This is what's happening. Then a week later says, oh, well, this scoop is that all of these people want to do the exact opposite of that thing. Well, guess what? Now, whatever happens, this person can look back and say, look, I told you, I was right. Must have been that other group that won out in the end. So there's a way of hedging your bets. You're never going to be able to point to this and be like, wow, WDW Pro was completely wrong because either they retcon Luke Skywalker or they don't. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I do find a lot of these kind of rumors a little bit hard to believe at times, but it is interesting and it works very well with a lot of things we've heard before. We've now gone full circle from the days of outright racism to a time once more where we actively discriminate systematically in favor and against certain races. It's flat out accepted tribalism once more. And then he does say everything in this rumor should be considered rumor for now. I've got my sources, but I personally have not seen the original content I'm reporting on. But be aware of a certain schism at Lucasfilm, and this goes back to the civil war brewing at Lucasfilm that so many of us have heard the rumors about between Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy, she is completely against everything that's happening in The Mandalorian. That is the narrative that a lot of people are running with. Then you see, everyone in The Mandalorian with Kathy. They're seemingly pretty happy. I know a lot of people like to post that image of George and Kathy with both of them looking miserable on the set of The Mandalorian. Well, there's other pictures out there too when they seem to be enjoying themselves, right? So, I'm not sure how much of this I believe. I definitely think that there are different factions at Lucasfilm. That makes sense. There are a lot of people that want Luke Skywalker to stay the way that he is in The Last Jedi. They want him to remain a failure. They want to replace him with all these other people. That is very clear. From the writers to some of the people working in creative positions, we've seen a lot of this bullshit, and we're seeing more of it today. More people piling on against Star Wars theory and against other fans. Rebel Force Radio's going through some shit. I'm going to make a video about that likely tomorrow. They're going through some stuff right now with people who are associated with Lucasfilm shitting on them, shitting on fans, shitting on creators for not thinking the way that they want them to think. This has been a plague at Lucasfilm, and things are not going to change in Star Wars until either the behavior is different or the personnel changes. I think likely it'll require a personnel change at a lot of different places, but the behavior is unacceptable and has been unacceptable for a long time. If you're just hopping on board the train now to call this shit out, welcome to the party, pal. Glad you're here. Let's hope you keep that energy. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Do you believe that the people at Lucasfilm hate white men? They don't want to see them in any roles. Do you think that there are actively people that are trying to subvert any potential redemption for Luke Skywalker? Or do you think it's all just kind of a bunch of BS rumors? Let me know. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.